What's the loneliest thing you've ever done or seen someone do? Before we start with the first story, please hit the subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Number 15. I knew an old lady on my street who would regularly call the police for non-existent disturbances after her husband passed away just so she could have somebody to talk to for a little while. After the officers realized what was happening, a lot of them began to stop by her house after their shifts to have tea and chat with her so that she would stop dialing 911. Number 14. Made friends with my senior housemate and her friends my freshman year of college. Then had my entire circle of close friends graduate. I was stuck more or less friendless my sophomore year, and was sad and lonely and bored. Ended up posting on the college Facebook page asking if anyone wanted to eat lunch with me. I cringed thinking about it. Number 13. I donate blood to get free movie tickets by myself. I use said movie tickets to go watch movies by myself. I take very long, lonely walks/drives/bike rides at midnight. In high school, I hid in the bathroom to eat lunch, or during PE if bathrooms were closed. I would hide out behind the school and eat next to the dumpster. If anyone saw me there, God forbid, I quickly dump my food in the dumpster so they don't know my secret. Number 12. I am generally a loner, and it hit me when I was bored at home and my two friends were on their double dates with their girlfriends. I drove my car at night since I couldn't sleep, went got a burger, and parked in an empty parking lot playing music and eating. Felt alone. Funny thing is I do this regularly, but it never registered. I'm used to it doing loner things. Eat alone, drink, movies, etc. Number 11. I spent my birthday by myself. I canceled all the plans I had made weeks before and drove around for hours alone, driven by nothing more than my depression and thoughts of self-harm. Things have gotten better. Yesterday, I had random people in my classes tell me they miss me on Friday. My depression hit me hard on Friday, and one of my professors of mine even offered to drive me to my car as it was raining and I had parked a good deal away. It made me realize what a difference I make in people's lives, even if it's just a small one. I can't explain to you how I felt today when one of my classmates said, "Hey, more sadness, here's your graded homework." Someone actually knew my name and acknowledged my existence. It was a surreal feeling. Number 10. I used to be a meth and heroin addict. Have 45 days clean now. However, at the end of my addiction, I lost my home, my family, my fiance, my dog, and while living in my truck for about 5 months, committing a for dollars. I hardly ever spoke to a soul other than myself. So I decided to vividly hallucinate and have full-on conversations with family members, my fiance, you name it. Now I would go all day thinking someone was with me, talking out loud to them and getting responses from people who weren't there. Then I'd crash, fall asleep, wake up and still think that person was with me, and I'd spend about a half hour each time looking for them, wondering why they left the truck and worried sick about them, cause I didn't know if they were okay or not. And when I realized they were never with me, to begin with, it was always the most devastating thing to feel. Purely just crushed, I'd sit and cry, tears streaming down my face, but never making a sound. Number 9. My mother is currently in a hospice with a terrible combination of terminal cancer, COPD, and mid-grade dementia. Every time I've gone to see her, she has been sitting outside of the front doors in her walker. I always ask her how long she has been outside, and she tells me that she has been there for less than 5 minutes or so. The last time I went to see her, she was sitting outside again. I decided for some reason to see how long she would stay outside, as I had heard that she was becoming very disassociated from everyone and everything at her hospice. I sat on some steps about a half a block away and watched her sit there for over 45 minutes, not making a single move. She was just staring forward as if she were paralyzed. I sat there and cried, devastated that this is how my mother's life is going to end. When I finally approached her, I asked her how long she had been outside for. She said about 5 minutes. I broke down again, hugged her, and took her back inside. She barely remembers me, and all she wants to talk about in her lucid moments is how much she misses my stepdad who died 15 years ago. It just absolutely breaks my heart that she lived with that for 15 years and that it's all she can think about when she is aware. I'm not sure if this will be buried or not, and I'm sure you've all heard it before. But please, please do not take the people in your life for granted. All it takes sometimes is for you just to be there. Just to let someone know that they aren't alone. Number 8. I delivered to an old guy who ordered pizza once, and he invited me in and offered me said pizza. For context, he was no creeper, just an obviously lonely old guy who probably never got any company at his old apartment. It was a slow night, so I actually stayed around and just talked to him for a long time. But I didn't take any pizza. The guy told me all about his life, the war at his family across the country. He told me all about his grandson who he said I reminded him of, and he asked me how I liked my job because he said his grandson needed a summer job. He was super excited that his family was coming to see him. The idea that the guy would order a pizza, pay for that, and then invite in the stranger who brought it to eat it makes it stick out as the loneliest thing I've seen. But it wasn't his awful experience by any means. The guy had a really neat life story, and it was a welcome break from my job. When I finally left, he thanked me profusely for listening, and it made a huge difference in my attitude, actually doing something meaningful to someone and not just bringing crappy food to misers for an easy buck. Number 7. I had no friends in 4th grade. My family had moved from a different country back to the USA a couple years prior, and then homeschooled me for a year, and done a terrible job of it. So when I entered public school, I had not readjusted to American culture at all, on top of already being an insanely shy and awkward little girl. For the whole school year, I played by myself at recess and was weirdly quiet. My only friend was my little beanie baby toy, Snip, the Siamese cat. So by the end of the year, when yearbooks came out, I had no one to sign mine. I remember watching everyone walking around, signing each other's, and me just sitting there as they passed by. Of course, I wanted signatures too, so I did the only thing I knew and wrote "Have a great summer, Snip." Number 6. I sit alone at lunch, staring down at my food, eating in silence. I catch myself having conversations with fictional people, out loud. I play online games against myself. I have at least one nightmare every week where I am an old man who was never married, a kissless virgin, and has absolutely no one. Edit. I've stopped wearing my hood. Thanks. Number 5. You see it a lot at bars, a lonely older man eating by himself at the bar. There was this bar in a college town, and an elderly man would come in and have a beer and just sit there and stare at it, then look around hoping someone would talk with him. I remember saying hi at once and got a terrifying look at what getting old is like. Number 4. I was walking by my neighbor's house years ago. I see her, 70+ years old, sitting at the kitchen table talking with someone. I thought maybe her son came to visit, as her husband died a month before. As I continue walking, I see the seat opposite here. It's empty. She's there still talking to her husband. It broke my heart. Number 3. I've been in college for 5 years and I have absolutely no friends. Every semester I'm completely alone all day. I talk to no one, I eat lunch alone, I walk to class alone. For the first 2 years it was pretty depressing, but after that I convinced myself that college is for education and not socializing. I'm not going to my graduation ceremony because I will not know a single person in my graduating class, and I will not have any friends to take pictures with. Number 2. Worked at a flower shop a few years ago. Couple of old men broke my heart. First guy, Valentine's Day. He was looking at some of our flowers with a troubled look on his face and tears in his eyes. I approached and asked if there was anything I could help him find. He said, "My wife died 5 years ago, but I always bought her flowers for Valentine's Day. I'm trying to find flowers to put on her grave, but now I can't remember what color she liked." He put his hand over his mouth and his voice cracked when he said the last part. He was tore up over not remembering. Second guy, I was taking an order for him over the phone. He wanted to send flowers to his wife's nursing home and didn't have any family to take him to visit her. At the end of the call, he said, "Hey, do you live close? Do you like cats? I have cats that are so friendly, and you would love them. I have some puzzles we can do too, while we chat. You should come visit me sometime." Number 1. My friend worked at a McDonald's. He told me a story about a guy who came in every day and always ordered the same thing. 2 double quarter-pounders for me and 2 duo for my wife. He would eat his food, then sit by himself and eat his sandwiches. Then he would get up, say goodbye, and leave. They could see him as he left, went to his car, sat in the driver's seat and ate the other 2. I always feel a bit sad when I think about this story. And that's all the 15 best stories. If you like more of this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your similar experience in the comment below. See you in the next video.